Hello guys, today we're going to be creating this island here, and yeah, let's get into it. But before we actually start, I want to go through what we're going to do and how we're going to achieve this result. First of all, we're going to start with getting all the assets. If you want to use our assets, you can feel free to use your own. And after that, we're going to create the water. And after the water, we are going to create the quartz. I also want to talk about the whole idea of the scene and why I choose to create it like this, and all the things that led to have everything placed the way it is. So I would like to talk about composition a bit and some lighting. So yeah, let's actually get into it. So first, let's go through all the assets that we're going to use to create this scene. The first one is ancient treasures, also city of brass enemies. We're going to use this for skeletons and for the main character. And the next one is vegetation. We will need some tropical vegetations, again another tropical vegetation, and these are free. And this is mega scans tropical, of course. So these are all the packs that I'm going to use in this video. So next, let's just talk about the whole idea behind the scene. Initially, what I wanted to do is a tropical scene, like a tropical island. This was my whole idea. I got some reference from Pinterest again. And the idea was to have this calm feeling of peacefulness. And to achieve that, I actually had to do the arrangement of all the elements had to be in a certain way. So to achieve a peaceful image, a peaceful feeling in your image, you want a lot of vertical lines. So my idea was, the initial idea was for the quartz to be very stretched like this, and to create these vertical lines, which actually creates a feeling of peacefulness. And of course we have even the horizon line is very prominent, and even in the ocean we have these lines. You see dark, white, and if we go, I achieved that by changing the material and the waves. I'm going to show you how to do that, of course. And even in the rocks, here in the rocks we have like I placed them so we have these horizontal lines. And this palm here, initially I didn't know exactly what I wanted, how the trees in the small island will be arranged, but I just placed this palm and I kind of liked it. So yeah, and of course we have this sand, and this sand is in a circular like shape, which gives us not peaceful but not threatening feeling. So this was the whole idea behind the scene. The lighting, I wanted to be very like in the middle of the day, very strong light, and just no fog. I wanted to reduce the fog a lot, so I wanted a clear image, and this is the final result. This is what I wanted to do. It was a fast scene. It was just a scene to arrange some objects and to play with quartz and water. So yeah, this was the scene, and let's get into actually creating this scene. So let's create this scene from scratch. Let me exit this, and now as always we will go to File, New level, Empty. We're always starting from empty. And again, use environment light mixer. You can access this from window environment. And now we can just click all these icons, and we can have our sky. Now that we have sky and fog and everything, first thing I do is actually put, actually I'm going to put these guys here, and I will call this light. Next step, now that we have all this, is to create our landscape and create our island. To create our island, we're going to landscape, and let's see, this is pretty big. I'm going to do 10 by 10 by 10, and this looks okay. We can do even bigger, and that doesn't really matter that much. So let's click create. And before we actually continue, because we actually need the water, to have the water we need to go to settings, plugins, and go water and enable these plugins. It will ask you to restart, and after you restart you will need to compile some shaders, so you can wait, go watch some Netflix or something, or another of my videos. And after it's finished compiling, you will have your PC not freezing every second. And after you're done with that, we can create the water. Now, if we go to this mode select here and go to quickly add to the project, and here you can just click that icon and just type water, and we can do ocean, and we can put the ocean here. Now, if we zoom out, you're going to see that we're having some issues. We can either create a bigger terrain, or we can just press R for scale, and we can scale this like this. We can move it, it doesn't really matter that much, even scale it, yeah. So now my water actually looks pretty white, and this is not gonna happen with yours. And to fix that, actually I'm not gonna fix it right now, but yours probably won't be this white. Next, we need this terrain to actually be below the water, and we need it to actually be a lot below the water. And we can do something like this. And now that we have it here, we can actually sculpt and create our island. And to do that, we can go to select mode, go to landscape, and if you're in the sculpt area here, we can increase the brush size to a lot, and just press it like, we need this to just poke a bit on the water. Also, if you see that you get capped here, that's because your terrain has a limit of how high it can go. To bypass that, we can actually take our terrain, go to landscape, and actually move it a bit up like this, maybe. So yeah, now we can do again select landscape mode, and we can just, we need it to just be poking a little bit above the water, because next thing we're going to do is go to flatten, and let's reduce our brush size. The idea is to flatten it and create our island a bit like this. We just need the initial island, which will be just poking a bit from the water, and after that we are going to shape our island with the sculpting tool. So you can sculpt your island like this and create any shape that you feel that's interesting. So yeah, that's not too bad, but also we can go to sculpt again, and holding shift we can actually smooth a bit and make a transition between like water and the island. So yeah, this is something that we can do. Now that we have our island, we can actually start making our composition and placing objects. Now it won't be the same as mine, because I did obviously different shape of the island here and so on. But yeah, the whole idea was to have a character, to have a palm tree, and let's go into that. So in our banana, like PN banana, we have these meshes here, and you can add it to the scene like this if you want, but I'm not going to do that. I will actually go to let's see, I will go to, we need this one, pandanus, and if we go to meshes, here we can go to big, and we have this tree. I used this tree, and it's pretty small here, but you can just scale it, or you can or maybe this one. Yeah, I used this one, the second one. So if we scale this tree, now we have this shape here, and if like the lighting and everything is bothering you, I can fix that pretty fast. So before that, let's organize our scene a bit. Take the landscape and water and make a folder, landscape. And now, because we need everything to be organized, it's a lot better. And we can, actually we are going to do that later, we can place the tree a bit like this. And now the first thing I'm going to do is go to my light, not my landscape, and go to my skylight. First enable real-time capture, and you see my water immediately changed. And I'm going to actually change the light color to blue, and this will actually create our light color in the water. However, you probably will have blue water from the get-go, so if you go to your water body ocean and go to material, and you need to open this water material, and here there are some things I actually changed, and the main thing I changed for the color was this absorption option here. So I put it to almost white, and I did that because I wanted the color of the water to be influenced by the light, not the artificial color that we give it. So this way we will have more consistency with the environment, and my whole idea is to have this water be a pale color, not very bright blue, and the sky to be a pale color as well, not very like saturated, because I want to have distinction between the palm and the background, and I want the island to be in focus and not the clouds, the sky, or the ocean. So this was my whole idea. You can do it in a different way if you want, but that's the whole idea. Also, your water will be different, like moving differently, and to achieve that, again, I actually, as I showed you, let me bring this again. If you go to your material, here I have some options that I have changed, and you can change them as well. You can just screenshot this and copy paste them if you want. You can play with them. This one again, you can copy paste this one, and yeah, enable all this stuff as well. And yeah, if you want the same results, you can copy paste them, but if not, you can create your own material, like different water and so on. However, you won't have the same behavior, because you need to change the water waves, which actually are responsible for this movement, like the moving of the geometry. Because the material will have the normal map and all that, but it won't be moving exactly the geometry. And to move the actual geometry, we need to open this Gerstner waves or whatever. And here, if I open this one, let me show you what the options do. First, you probably have 16 here, which is already a different thing. But mine will behave differently again because I change other settings here. And you can, I can show you like the wave here. You generate only one wave and it will go in one direction. You see, it's coming towards me. And if I do two waves, you have like different movement. And I didn't want to have a sophisticated water movement because I wanted the water to actually feel very still, like not so much movement. If you see right now, it's a lot more active, like this thing here, for example. And this is not actually something I want for this particular scene, because I wanted to give a feeling of calmness and peacefulness. So I wanted a peaceful ocean, and this one wave that's moving away from you, like if you see here, it's moving away from you. It's very relaxing in my opinion, so I wanted to use that in my scene. And you can also amplitude, this is very self-explanatory. Direction, of course, I usually it will be probably 0 here, and it will be or I don't know what the default was, but probably. And I move it to 180 to move so the waves go away from you, not towards you. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do here. You can play around with it and create your own if that's what you want. But yeah, this is pretty much how I created the water. You can also create your own shader, of course, and that would be nice as well. So yeah, that's about the water. Next, let's do actually the clouds. For the clouds, we also need to enable a plugin. So if we go to plugins and search for volume, you will see volumetrics. We need to enable this plugin. Again, it will ask you to restart, it will compile shaders, but after you compile shaders, you will be able to work normally. So I suggest you again to go watch something else. So if we go to content browser, and here in the settings, we also need to enable show plugin content. And if you don't do that, if you go to engine here, you won't be seeing actually the plugins. And we need this plugins folder to actually find the volumetrics, which is this. And to create the sky, if we go first, let's see what we have. If we go to sky, where is the sky? Am I not sky but clouds, sorry, volumetric clouds. And here let's see, we have this material, and if I browse this material, you will see it's somewhere in the engine sky folder, and this material is not what we need. I have already created videos explaining about clouds, but let's go through it again pretty fast. Here we actually need to go to content, sky, materials, and here we have our materials. For this particular example, what we're going to use are this, was it this one? We're going to use a material from here, and let me see, I think it was this one. So just change it, and you see that I already have some clouds here. However, you will see absolutely nothing in your scene when you do this. And yeah, let's open the material, and here you're going to see these clouds because we're actually using a runtime, not runtime, but render target. And I have already painted something on this render target, so that's why you're seeing the clouds. However, to paint on this render target, what we need to do is add a few stuff. So get back to volumetric content and go back to tools. And in tools, we need to go to, let's see, not this, but cloud composition. And in blueprints, you have these two objects, BP cloud mask object and BP cloud mask generator. Place them both into the scene, and one of them will be pretty big, so you can move it actually in the background like this. It doesn't matter, and you will instantly see that we lost our clouds. And yeah, this is what happens. And probably you won't have any clouds to begin with. But if you go to, let me expand this to mask object, and if you just scale this one, let's say 20, and we need to move it backwards, come on. We need to move it a bit backwards, and now you see we actually have a cloud here. So you can use the clouds like some of the other materials. Where was it? Probably here, it was here, but you can use one of the other materials for the clouds, but I want to actually art direct my clouds, and I want to place them like this, so I can move them. And if I duplicate this one, so if I just duplicate this actor, like holding Alt and moving it, come on, like this, we will have another mask object. And if you see, if you go back into the material of the clouds, and let's find this runtime, not runtime, sorry, render target. Now in this render target, for some reason it's not visualizing here, but you can actually see it here in the thumbnail. And if I move, if I move the cloud, this dot here moves. So we're painting over texture, and this is our mask to create the clouds. Now we have these clouds obviously, but they don't really look what we need them. So we can actually scale them like this, and we can scale them like maybe not one. Sorry, this is actually the wrong axis. I have spent a bit too much time in Houdini where the y-axis is the up axis. We actually need to decrease this one while nothing is happening. Okay, so if I move this one back, now you see I can actually art direct my clouds, and on top of that I can actually change some stuff here as well. And one of the things we can do is change the density, which, as you see, change the whole cloud, and we can place the cloud anywhere like we want, and we can actually create exactly all the things that we want. Let's scale the cloud again, this one as well, and they're a bit too like too big, I mean, in the up axis. So what we can do is go to our cloud, and volumetric clouds, I did it in the landscape. I actually going to create a new folder, and we'll call it clouds, and I will put it like in its own folder, so like this. And now all our cloud objects will be here. And if we go to volumetric cloud, we can actually decrease the height. So we need it to be something like that. And we can actually increase this as well, so you can see stuff. And you can even limit how much you see of the clouds in the distance. And yeah, if I do this like this and move this one again like this, so the other things that you can do is actually change the noise. And by changing the noise you can change the shape. Also let's do something like this. I think this is more like my scene. So now we have these long horizontal lines, not vertical, which is exactly what we desire. And again, we can just move this cloud, move it here. For example, we can even scale back the cloud. We can change the noise styling or the noise intensity, create some interesting shapes. We can change the seat. Let's see what we got. I like these small ones, pretty nice. So if I move this like here, we already have something pretty nice. And I'm not going to spend too much time. You can spend more time with the clouds, but this is how we're actually gonna create our sky and clouds. Next thing, we are going to actually create the island. So let's get into that. So if you watched my previous tutorial, I created this desert scene, and I'm actually gonna cheat and get my material from there. But before that, if you actually watched it and have this material and everything set up, and if you select your landscape, go to landscape, select your landscape, and here in your landscape material, if you just drag and drop this material, nothing will really happen. I mean, it will change the color, but it's just not like it's styling a lot. So what we can do is decrease the tiling, maybe even more, 5, I think, something like that. But if you don't have my material and textures, you can get textures from Quixel Bridge. And here you can just let me open the Quixel Bridge. Here you can just type go to let everything load, go to surfaces, and here just type sand and choose a textures. For example, if you get this one, download it, and then this button will become available, so add it to your project. And after you have it to your project, open the folder, create the material. The material is pretty straightforward, nothing really complicated. We have texture coordinate just to control the tiling, and apply it to your island. Now we have this material. You can play with the tiling, but I'm not going to give it too much time right now. And yeah, you need to do your composition now. Okay, like this. Also, for the rocks, I forgot actually about the rocks. So if you go to again to Quixel, you can get here some rocks as well. So get some rocks. for your scene. I don't remember where I got mine. Actually, probably if I go to engine, go to content, let's see what we got here. I think I used the rocks from the Landscape Pro. Foliage, rocks. Maybe I didn't from here, but yeah, you can use any rocks that you desire. It's really not a big deal. Just use any rocks, and it will be all good. And after next, we actually need to again place some rocks. So let me actually find the rocks, and after that we're going to start placing them. I think it was these ones. So what we can do, we can scale the rocks and put them, but before that there is something actually more important that I need to deal with, and that is the lighting. So if we go to directional light, and I need it to be like this, something like this. Let's see. And I want it like this because if our camera is, let's say, here, you see the background. Let me maximize the screen. The background is pretty light, and our palm tree is in shadow, so we have contrast between values, between the background and our palm tree. And this is important because we don't want to focus on the background, we want to focus on the tree. And yeah, now let's do the rocks really fast. You can skip this part if you want, but also the whole idea, again, if the camera is like this, the whole idea is to create these horizontal lines. So when you put your rocks, have that in mind. Do a horizontal lines. Let's do this one. And you can even scale this to create the horizontal lines. Don't go overboard, but yeah. I think I scaled it wrong, incorrectly. But yeah, from here on it's just composition and placing your assets. So I will stop this video, I will pause this video, and I will come here back when I'm done placing some rocks. After we have our rocks, next we probably need to create some plants. To populate this island with plants, we can go to foliage, and here we need to find the folder first of our plants. So let's do that. And here we have the plants for our island. This is in the Megascans, so download some Megascans plants or download a pack and just place them here in the foliage. And now if I paint, we will paint with all these tropical plants. However, before I actually do that, I will add some more plants. And in here, again, we have more plants, place them here. And if you have more or want to add more, you can do that. And now when we paint, we have all different variety of plants. And because this is a scene that it's not a game or anything, we don't need to actually worry about performance. And because of that, we can populate our island with a lot of plants. And we have some greenery here. You can add more plants. You can even, if you go to select mode, get this plant here, you can place a singular plant, one plant, one vegetation, and just scale it a bit to be like bigger, place it to have like some more variety. But yeah, play around with different stuff, populate it, populate your island. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this. The whole idea is this thing to be to have some green in it. And with our texture here in the sun, it's pretty yellow. So before that, this texture may be yellow, but we can actually make it more yellow. And we probably need it to be more yellow because I want a bright color to get your attention to this island. And to do that, let's go to select mode, and I need to go to landscape, select my material, and here in my material I can do this in our diffuse texture. Take a desaturation node, place it like this, press and hold S, and then we are going to name this saturate. The default is 1. Save. And let me see. If you go to site instance, now we have this saturation thing here. And if you do 0, it's the default actually. And if you do -1, it gets pretty yellow. But what we want is minus something like this. So this is normal. This is -0.4. We need it to be a bit more yellow. And now we actually, you see, this pops a bit more. Doesn't look too bad. One thing that we miss actually is to do our visual effects, post-process volume. This is the first thing that you need to do after your lighting, but I forgot it. So let's enable it to begin with. Go to infinite extent, and after that go to exposure. Enable the first 3. I have done that so many times now. Disable this, and this looks a bit better. Very nice. Now our whole lighting and everything. We can actually do this. And maybe if we go to directional light, we can increase the light if you want, like 15. It really depends on what you want the mood of your scene to be. But yeah, we can either control it through the light, like here, or we can go to post-process and change this to 1 maybe, or like this, 0.5. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, for another thing, if you go to sky atmosphere, in the last tutorial about the desert, I showed you some things that you can do with this. So depending on what you want, you can change this thing here. And you can get different results. You see, you can make it more interesting, but it's up to you. I'm not going to go through all this. I mean, I'm not going to play around too much. You can just create your own. And yeah, let's move to the next thing, which will be creating the whole scene here with the assets and everything. So to create the assets, just find your assets, and as I said, we are going to need for this one City of Brass enemies and Ancient Treasure. For this one, I'm going to go to Ancient Treasure, and the one I used, and you can use something else, you can composite your scene in a totally different way. You don't need to follow this like one-to-one. But what I did is just took this here, placed it near the palm. Well, this was my initial idea. We can create something else. I can even scale this chest. And from here on, you can place gold and all our stuff. It doesn't matter too much because this is not so visible. And if the camera is too fast, you can decrease it to work better. Pretty nice. This looks nice. Staying here. There's ocean, there's nice blue sky. Pretty nice. I wanna go to an island. And yeah, you can throw some stuff in the chest. What I did is throw some things like this. It doesn't really matter. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole process again, but you can do it. And yeah, also you can throw around just randomly stuff, like the whole thing just spilled, and you have different objects on your island and move them in space like this. The other thing that we need is the enemies, and if we go to enemies, we can go to corpse, and we can take any of these corpses. What I did is just rotate them, and I made sure they have vertical lines as well. They're not vertical, sorry, horizontal. So they are like this as well. You see, another horizontal line. And it's very important to keep them keep the horizontal lines, because repeating them is very nice. It just solidifies what your idea is. And again, we can place, let's see what we have here. We can place even a ball, like sticking from the sand or being on the sand. Again, try to be horizontal. So yeah, populate your island with some stuff. You can even put one of these here, doesn't matter. It looks too unnatural to have both of them like facing the same way. So you can actually reverse like this. Make sure only a few things are popping, just suggesting. And the most important part, I guess, is actually our main character. But before we go to that, we're going to create our camera. So let's do that. To create our camera, all we need to do is go to a sequence, add a new level sequence, find a folder for it. Let's see, island. This will do. And here let's place our camera roughly where we want to start with. So maybe even something like this. So let's place the camera here. And the first thing, change to DSLR. And the next thing is actually the sensors. And for this shot, I'm going to use 36 by 15. Well, maybe a bit more than 15. This sensor aspect ratio should be around 2.35. So something like that. And I'm doing this because I want a bit wider frame. Because if you have wider frame, this also sends a feeling of peacefulness. If you want a peaceful feeling, make your frame wider. And if you make it like a tower in the up, white in the up axis, well, for example, if you do something like this, and this actually will make you feel stability. This is when things are stable, and this kind of frame can be used for like when you have a city and you feel the city stable. But you can also contrast this. For example, you can have this frame here like this, and have a city, but have this city destroyed. So the frame gives you a feeling of stability, but the action that is happening inside your frame gives the opposite feeling, and this creates some contrast and can be used as well. But for this scene, I actually don't want that, and I want to have everything to suggest peacefulness. So next thing is our focal length, and for this one let's try something like 20, and this looks okay. So we have our camera, and I did the camera before I placed the character because I actually need to know the rule of thirds. To know the rule of thirds, you need to go to cinematic viewport, get to your camera again, and enable it from this menu here. And we know that we need to place the character roughly here. So let's place the character. If we go to enemies, well, actually I missed one thing, the character. The character that we need is actually in another pack. It's a Paragon character, and you can easily access it from Marketplace. Go to free, go to Epic Content, and around here you can find a character that is that actually can be used in your scene. I use this one, and you are going to say, well, this character doesn't look anything like a pirate island or anything like that. But if you scroll through the skins, you will see that he has this skin, which I'm going to use. And if you go to content and go to his folder, go to character, heroes, his name, skins, and here we have this skin, and I'm just gonna place it. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to exit my camera. Let's increase the speed, and I'm going to roughly place it where I want him to be. Like this, rotate a bit, go back to my camera from perspective camera, and I actually nailed it. Move my camera a bit up, Let's remove the row of thirds. And now we have our island with everything done, everything that we need done. One thing is actually this character pose that I don't like. And if you watch my previous video with the desert, I explain how to, if you are using Paragon characters, so they have animation. So what you can actually do is go to character, global, or where was it? Character, heroes, animation. So in this animation you can choose a pose, something with a nice pose. It doesn't matter too much for me because I already did, but you can pick anything from here. Let's see, I'm going to pick, let me pause the video and pick one. If you pick one, you can go to animation mode, use animation asset, select your animation, click this arrow and pause animation. We pause the animation because when you render your video you will have problems because the animation will be played, and all I need is just a pose. So I can use this pose, it doesn't really matter so much. And yeah, this actually concludes the video. And now this is everything that you need to create this island. Again, what we actually can do to make it even a bit better is our character is blocked by this. So let's place it here on top. I want to see the whole silhouette. Get back to the camera again. Make sure the position is the same. And ta-da! One thing I actually missed in my previous video is I think the focus method. So if we do this, draw the bug focus plane and oops, let me move it towards us. We can do this, move it, like we need to get our character and the palm, and now we'll have a lot better focus in our island and the background will be a bit blurred, and now we have a bit more separation, right? But the other thing what we can do is pick this picker and just pick our character. And now we will have, even if we make animation in the sequence, our character will always be in focus. It's a very useful thing that we can do. And yeah, the other things that you can do here is play around with the lighting. You can even do a different kind of scene, like maybe like this, something like this, change other things to fit this, and play around with colors, lighting and everything to create a scene that you think looks nice. So yeah, you can create obviously something like this where you you see the silhouettes a lot more. But yeah, it's all up to you, and play around, and I hope you create something. You may not create an island, but I hope you learn something today and use it in your scenes. So thank you for watching, and again, if you like the video, please smash the like button, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. I'm going to create more Houdini videos, so if you're interested in Houdini, I suggest you to subscribe, and yeah, thank you for watching and see you next time.